God is a wonderful God. I'm Bishop Greg Davis, and welcome everybody as you're coming in. Could you please do three things for me? Like, share, and follow. Or follow, like, share, like, follow. It don't make a difference. We need you to like this broadcast. We need you to share this broadcast, and we need you to follow Full Gospel Official. All right. Like, follow, and share. In addition to doing that here, I need you to go to our Instagram page, and I need everybody that's coming in right now to follow our Instagram page. It's on fire, huh? And I need you to go to our YouTube page, and I need you to like, follow, and share our YouTube page. Do that now. And breaking news at our conference, the 9th, 10th, and 11th of July, we will be launching a TikTok page. That's especially for Bishop Jefferson. He likes all the TikTok. We'll be launching TikTok at the conference. So I am honored to be the Bishop of Media Relations, what I love to do. So I need y'all to do that. Everybody that's coming in, could you let us know who you are, where you're coming in from? I am Bishop Greg Davis, host of the Fellowship at Home. We honor our presiding bishop and his lovely wife, Bishop Joseph Warren Walker and Dr. Stephanie Walker, for giving me this opportunity to share with you all as we are on the road to conference. And then to our founders, Bishop Paul Sylvester Morton and Dr. Deborah B. Morton, and to our leaders as a whole. Come on in. I see you, Candace from New Orleans, Earl Graham, New Light Worship Center. Come on, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. I need y'all to like and share. I need y'all to like and share. Okay, got you. Overseer Christopher is our producer of this show, and I want to thank him for all that he does. We're going to have three segments tonight. We're going to be talking to Bishop Craig Oliver, our pastors division. We're going to be talking to Bishop-elect Winton Anderson, our young pastors. And then this segment that we start off with, emerging churches. We have been for a while now taught not to say small churches, little churches. We have emerging churches. And the man that changed our whole dialogue, the way we think about churches that are smaller. I know before the pandemic, they said the average church is 75, and maybe even smaller now with the pandemic. And that is Bishop Nathaniel Gomillion. He taught us some time back. This man, I literally saw him fight for churches that were not mega churches. I don't remember how many years, ever since I can remember, he's been doing it. We honor the memory, and I like doing this when we are doing the fellowship at home, especially since we're going our way back to New Orleans, the memory of Bishop House. That was his running buddy. He was doing outreach, and Bishop Gomillion was taking care of emerging churches. And so we honor him tonight. Thank God for all that Bishop Gomillion has done. And then this young man is co-laboring with Bishop Gomillion. He is one of my spiritual brothers. Amazing church, abundant in New Orleans. They pack, they shout, they dance. He preaches, he sings. I love to see him minister, and he helps Bishop Gomillion in this area. He has a passion for it, and that is none less than Bishop Tyrone Jefferson. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Bishop. How you doing?
I am fine. I got two of my favorite people here, man. I got two of my favorite people here.
I'm so honored.
I appreciate you both. So, emerging churches. Bishop Gomillion, let's start. Let's start from the start. What gave you the vision? How did emerging churches start? Did you go to the founder and say, we ain't looking out for our churches? How did this start? Because you know that sound
Actually, Bishop, at the time I was the general overseer of fellowship assistants, and Bishop Morton came to me and said, I want to put you over emerging churches. And we went from there. You know, God began to speak to my heart about emerging churches and quantitative growth versus qualitative growth, or should I say it the opposite way around, where you can grow qualitatively as well as quantitatively. And if you grow qualitatively, you can get more done because the quality of your people, their maturity level goes up. And you're able to do more ministry because of quality as well as quantity. If that makes any sense, what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, no. So you saying that if you have the right quality of people, you can do more with less.
Yeah, absolutely. A good example is if you have 20% tithers and you increase to 40% tithers, then your income goes up and your capability goes up to do more ministry.
So how many years have you been over emerging churches?
Oh, I think about 20, if not more.
Okay. And how has the journey been? What was it formed for? What was the why?
Well, the why was because Bishop Morton had a heart for churches that were not necessarily mega. He had a heart, as he does, for everybody. He has a heart for all people, but he has a heart for all churches, regardless of their size. He sees worth and value where a lot of times other people don't see worth and value.
Okay. So we're talking to Bishop Gomillion and Bishop Jefferson, emerging churches. I need y'all to do a lot of sharing, a lot of liking with people, especially I want you all to please invite some pastors, because that's who we really need tonight. This will help pastor. So Bishop Jefferson, how did you come on board?
Oh God, I was appointed, I believe some 10 years ago. At the time, Bishop Larry Brandon was my state bishop, and I believe Bishop Gomillion needed help with that department, and I was recommended by Bishop Larry Brandon some 10 years ago. And Bishop Gomillion gladly received me. And I'm forever grateful for that.
Y'all inseparable ever since I can remember that he put, I think this mirrors where the fellowship is, to see the generation that has helped build the fellowship and then the generation that's come on. You're looking at transition, you're looking at the now and the next. So tell us about what's the services you all, and both of you can answer them, that emerging churches provide. What are the services, the opportunities that it holds, your chief aim, the why?
Of course, we help out with churches that's struggling financially. We help out churches that have gone through hurricanes or tornadoes, different seasons of their ministry. We bless churches with equipment as it relates to AV equipment, musical instruments, organ, pianos, microphones, because sometimes, we have churches within the fellowship that's struggling, can't really afford to get equipment. So we have something in place where we are a blessing to those churches who are looking for different kinds of equipment and also chairs. We've given away so much through our fellowship assistant program. Bishop Gomillion can add more to that. I believe over $107,000 worth of equipment to different churches within the fellowship and some churches outside of the fellowship as well that we're trying to get in and be a part of Full Gospel.
And we also have our annual reception every year where we recognize an emerging church pastor of the year from every region. And that pastor is recommended to us by the regional bishop. And we have the reception, and it doesn't cost the pastor anything to come. Any of our emerging church pastors can come absolutely free. And we have food for them. We give them a plaque. We give them some money. We have given them vacations. We have also given them books from various authors. Of course, one book is from the author. This dude named Nathaniel Gomillion has a book, God Can Handle Small.
What's the name of it?
God Can Handle Small.
All right.
I got that from you when I was on your show. And we were talking about what to name the show. Yeah.
God Can Handle Small.
Yes, sir.
So when y'all was talking about equipment and all that, I went back, both of y'all remember this. Because everybody that worked through the overseer's office back in the day. When remember it was fax machines and it was pastors that
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
Fax machines.
I remember. I
Yeah.
remember.
We've given out fax machines, we've given out
in the main service. In the main service.
Well, yeah. And I think that's the side that people don't see, and I think it's important that we highlight that tonight. Now, let me ask you this: what Bishop Gomillion specifically? What's your most memorable church and pastor that you all have helped, and you've seen them go on to really do good from your help? You can name more than one, but I want you to tell me your most memorable.
My most memorable, Bishop, you put me on the spot because we've been doing this thing over 10 years, man. That's about
have one that stands out though.
80 different pastors. Let me let Bishop Jefferson come up with that.
Yeah, because I normally handle that part. Overseer Carolyn Kidd, she was blessed with a Shure microphone. Pastor Merlin Flores was blessed with a soundboard and I believe some equipment as relates to speakers and monitors, and many others.
There was one pastor in the Midwestern region who received a B3 organ.
B3 organ.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. So let me ask you this. That seems so simple to some of us. Sure, cordless mic.
Yeah, but guess what? Top of the line. No, they're different. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying to some people that seems simple, but for some pastors, that's major. That's where I'm going with that. Explain that is not, we take for granted what some of us can go ahead and just do. And there are pastors that is something that can take their service to the next level. That's where I was going.
When you have startup churches, all churches need the same thing. And startup churches don't have any of those things. And so we have an audience already to give them to. It's just a matter of letting them know we have these things available to do it.
And not only startup churches, but you'd be surprised how many churches in our fellowship are struggling, as it relates to tithes and offerings, and may not be able to even meet their budget, let alone trying to buy a microphone. And I can remember when I gave that microphone to Overseer Carolyn Kidd, she was like, "Oh, this is mine right here. This is mine. Nobody can talk on this one with me. This is mine right there." Look, she even called me. She even called me to ask me how you plug it up. I had to get somebody over there to her church to help her to plug that microphone up, and it was a top of the line Shure. Shure Sure mics, you know, there are different levels. And this particular microphone was top of the line, sure. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bishop Jefferson. Thank you. Well, back then I was General Overseer Jefferson.
Wow. So let me ask you this question. Well, two things. If there are companies, because this is the World Wide Web, this is the World Wide Internet web, and you don't know who might come across this. If there are companies that want to donate to your, maybe even churches that have stuff that they're just got sitting around, they're not even using anymore. If that's something that y'all open to, sponsors, churches that are larger churches that may say, I got some drums and y'all can give that stuff away. I got the sound system that I don't use no more. I got a camera that y'all, or even pastors that are mega churches want to donate equipment to you all. Is that something or companies that may just be tuning in?
You're tapping into our Churches Helping Churches program, where we're asking churches
Churches Helping Churches program.
Churches Helping Churches program, where we're asking churches in our fellowship to take inventory of all of the things that they don't want, because you prayed over it and you blessed it and you made it holy. You don't want to just throw it away. So when you get a new one, you set it to the side. It's taking up space in your church and you don't really need it. And all we need to know is who has it. Who has it, and then allow someone to make a list of who has it, so that other people who need it, will know who have it, they can come and get it and take it off your hands. You get space back, and they receive these items, and they pay the cost to come to get it.
The reason I'm saying this because I know my next guest is probably watching this, Bishop Craig Oliver, and he might have something laying around. And he might,
whoa.
Yeah.
State of the art church.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and sometimes,
he might have stuff in the storage. You never know who's watching,
And sometimes, Bishop, we buy upgrades. So we upgrade our equipment as well. And sometimes those donations will come in.
We had one pastor who built a new church and gave everything he had away.
Wow.
In Dallas. He gave it all away. And pastors just came and got it.
You see, you don't hear.
And that's our fellowship.
Yeah, you don't hear about these things. And that's why the fellowship at home is so important for people to hear this and to know that the fellowship is doing more than shouting, dancing. So let me ask you this question. What's the steps to receive donations? What's the steps? How can you, if you're a pastor that's listening and you want to get on this, what is the steps?
Bishop, you want to answer that? You want me to answer it?
No, you answer it.
The districts, each district within Full Gospel has a list. Each state has a list, and each region has a list, and they share lists as it relates to what the needs are, and they can call that particular pastor, that particular church, if that item is available. And like Bishop said earlier, they are responsible for the shipping. But to make it easier, if you're on tonight, whether you want to donate or whether you're in need, to make it easier, and I'll put you in the right place, 504-342-0810. 504-342-0810.
Can we put that up, Christopher, if you all could, Pastor Corey, good to see. If you could, Jefferson, if you could put that in the chat so that he can put it on Facebook, on the chat in here, in Zoom. We want to put that number. If you need to receive, all right, or if you need assistance, you call this number and they will help you. Bishop Gomillion.
Yes, sir.
When is the luncheon this year? What day, time?
It is
Wednesday, Bishop.
Wednesday afternoon at 1:30.
2 o'clock, Bishop.
2 o'clock? Okay.
2 o'clock.
All right. He's the knowledge man. 2 o'clock p.m.
And within our luncheon, Bishop Davis, we highlight our pastors as well as the work that we have done throughout the year. So we invite everybody to come to the luncheon. The luncheon is absolutely free. First come, first serve. Last year we ran out of space. I'm so sorry to you that you weren't able to get in, but we'll make sure we have a seat for you this year.
I wasn't even able to get in.
See that? Look how you do me.
I stood there and said, well, it's needed from the other. And we're gonna make sure We're not gonna do you like that. They're gonna make sure social media covers it.
And it's going to
Anyway,
be big. It's going to be big because this is Bishop Gomillion's last year serving. So it's going to be big. I want you to come and show him some love, and we're going to really make it big for him.
Bishop, what's this journey been to you as you now are getting ready to retire and stuff? What this whole full gospel fellowship journey? What has it been? You've been a hard worker.
It has been absolutely awesome, Bishop. I met Bishop Morton. I've met so many other bishops like yourself, Bishop Jefferson, just so many other persons around this country. Bishop Cheryl McBride Brown, my elder sister. It's just been phenomenal. I have been blessed immensely to go places I never would have gone and to have met people that I never would have met, and just to be a part of this great fellowship, helping it any way I could. And it's just really blessed my life, Bishop.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. And we thank God for what you meant to this fellowship. You are a hard worker. I'm not just saying that in the trenches. So I appreciate you. Bishop Jefferson, any final remarks about your area and what we can expect even for conference?
Of course, we are looking forward to our conference, our national conference that's going to be in New Orleans. All roads will be leading to New Orleans, Louisiana. And again, I'm inviting everybody to share with us as we honor our pastors. We call it the Bishop Paul S. Martin Sr. Pastoral Excellence Award in the Emerging Church. Yes. And we will be recognizing a pastor from every region. You know, we have 8 regions, so we will be recognizing a pastor from every region.
Thank you.
That was recommended by their regional bishop.
Okay. And again, the number is in the chat, 504-342-8810. I'm sorry, no. 504. I'm looking at it. I'm saying something else. That's the way my mind works. 504-342-0810 if you are in need of assistance. Or if you like Bishop Oliver, you just got some stuff laying around. Because you done transition and you got old equipment laying around. Ain't no need to clutter up your hallway and your storages. Clear out for more. All jokes aside, thank you all so much, Bishop Jefferson, Bishop Gomillion.
Thank you.
And I know Bishop, this transition, I know Bishop Oliver loved to hear stuff like this because he is our overseer and bishop of pastors. So we're transitioning. Good evening, y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Bishop.
Bishop Craig Oliver is in the house. He is our bishop of pastors. He is our host of Propel. Y'all gotta go out. Christopher. All right. He is our bishop of pastors. He is also our leader of Propel, which such an excellent job that he does hosting us every year. We look forward to Propel. But we're talking about our annual meeting coming up July the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Bishop Oliver, welcome, sir.
Well, great day to you. Great day to you. And listen, you didn't complete the whole list. I'm not just a bishop over
on the
pastors.
council.
I'm a part of the council, but I'm also your
He's the pastor.
But I'm also your little brother. Tell everybody I'm your little brother.
My little brother. And you know why I got a white t-shirt on?
Because you know I was coming with one.
I'm in Miami, so I ain't got a sport coat, so I'm sorry.
Oh, listen, I'll be the soon we need to hook up. It's good seeing you, though, Bishop.
Man, it's good seeing you. This is my brother, and I love you. Man, we getting ready for conference. Can you believe we are less than 30 days away already?
I am looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait. Last year was incredible, but I believe that there's going to be a special move of God this year. I just really believe it. You know, matter of fact, I just had the presiding bishop with me and celebrating our anniversary. And just the way he came out of the box preaching 3 nights, I'm just like, I'm in awe. Just can't wait to hear it.
I thought that was a typo. You had Bishop there for 3 nights for real?
For 3 nights, believe it or not.
He did a revival.
For 3 nights, a revival. I'm still old school.
That is amazing. I'm saying just the mere fact that you had the presiding bishop. When I saw that graphic, I'm like, this got to be wrong.
Right.
You know,
No, he
That's
did
am-
3 nights, and it was incredible.
wow. Congratulations on the anniversary and everything that you're doing.
Well, thank you, sir.
Bishop, we know about Propel, and we know that your function is that, but what is your function during our conference? Do you have any oversight at all during the conference?
No direct oversight per se, beyond just sharing a segment or a section with pastors, which is just really a time of empowerment, a time of impartation, a time of instruction and inspiration. And so that is the exciting part that I have in contributing to the conference, and I can't wait. Dealing with the whole topic of navigating through the challenges of this current context of ministry. I believe that we're still dealing with the aftermath of COVID, and not just the aftermath of COVID, but also the effects that it's had upon us as leaders and as pastors, and just really trying to help pastors to understand, first of all, what Scripture says, and then beyond that, some best practices as it relates to coping with the experiences of leading in the aftermath of going through a disruption like COVID.
So is this for just full gospel pastors, or it's for any pastor that comes to conference?
Not just for full gospel, but any pastor, any leader. The heart of our presiding bishop, of course, is for the local church. And in having that heart for the local church, of course, we want to encourage pastors, but we also want to encourage those leaders who are surrounding the pastors, because as goes those leaders, so goes the pastor. And as go the pastors, so go those leaders. And so it's a whole connection of pastors and leaders, regardless of context of ministry. We encourage all leaders to be plugged in and be involved and engaged.
There's some pastors I know that are watching, and of course, we're going to talk to our young pastors, but how do you consistently reinvent yourself?
Yeah.
Not just those that are watching, but there are people that come through here and watch the replay. How do you consistently reinvent yourself?
Yeah, I think part of the whole aspect of personal and leadership evolution and reinvention, it comes first of all through exposure. The willingness to get outside of the box of the confine of what is familiar, the confine of what you know, the confine of what is comfortable, and have the daring approach of exploring and investigating different methods, different approaches, different ideologies, different philosophies, different theories and things of that sort. And so even as it relates to Propel, one of the things that I'm excited about in leading up to it, I'm actually going to visit different pastors' conferences, so that I can even glean from those experiences. Because I do believe that if we present ourselves in a space to be exposed and to beyond that, to be inspired, something in that space can cause a creative gene to take place that can enhance whatever it is that you're doing. And in doing so, that is how that process of reinventing yourself takes place. I call it personal and leadership evolution, that we should evolve. We should constantly grow. It's interesting, like a snake. A snake, of course, has skin upon it, but ever so often it sheds that skin and it's a whole new skin that comes on. And so the challenge is making sure that we're constantly shedding the old and preparing ourselves for the new.
We're talking to our bishop of pastors again. What days are you teaching, and what days are pastors assembling with you so that you can impart it to them?
Yeah, I believe that day is scheduled for the Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, and I'll make sure that we have the exact date. But looking forward to it. It's close to about a 2.5-hour format of teaching.
Wow.
And I've already have started working on the content, and really looking forward to sharing that information with pastors and leaders.
Since we're going back to New Orleans, this is our mecca, this is our place that we go back to, started at. What are you looking forward to as we go back home? at the conference this year. It's always balanced. That's what I love about it. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think just first of all, the fellowship, it is something that is enriching. It is something that is like no other, experience as it relates to Reformation coming together. The fellowship aspect of it is one thing I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to the worship experience. Full Gospel is known for cultivating and curating an incredible and an exceptional worship experience that has the impact of just really charging our hearts, our minds, our souls, our spirits for service. And so looking forward to that whole aspect of fellowship and worship, but also looking forward to the presenters and the proclaimers that will be sharing throughout the week. Those who are presenting in the different classes and the different learning experiences, but also the preachers that will be sharing, looking forward to that experience. And that I have no doubt, as it has been the case each and every time that we've gathered, that God has always just had a special moment of breathing in that experience of the impartation and the exposition of the Word of God. So I'm looking forward to what God is going to say. And I, can't say it enough, looking forward to what our presiding bishop is going to say. Each and every year he comes with this revelatory word that just gives leaders and pastors the excitement, the encouragement to trust God, and not just to trust God, but to blaze forward into whatever it is that God has destined, declared, and decreed for that pastor and for that leader. And so just really looking forward to that. And quite candidly, if I can just be a tad bit carnal, I'm looking for the cuisines and the food in New Orleans. I'm looking forward to, I am. I mean, there's nothing like it. As you know, Lady Oliver is from Louisiana. She's, 3 miles away from Eunice. And out of all the places I've traveled, there's no food like Louisiana. I'm looking forward to that.
I was in Morgan City, Louisiana, so I actually know where Eunice is.
Really?
Yes, sir. When I was down there, I preached in every little city, every little cranny. I actually am familiar with Eunice. So
Yes, it's
probably
nothing
the
like
only
it.
one you know other than her that is.
Right.
So Tuesday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Thank you.
Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you, Bishop-elect Poole and Marlinda Henry for that. They work in the chat.
Thank you.
8:30, any pastors that are registered, you can come be a part of 2 hours. That's a combination of 4 hours. Are you going to be sharing your journey with them? Because, people love to hear where you started from. We see you now, but there was a starting point. Are you going to be sharing your own personal?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that every leader, as is one of our core values at EBC, or one of our mission measures, I should say, every leader is a spiritual autobiographer, that we all have a story, and we have to steward the story and share the story. And it is through the experience of sharing our stories that other people are inspired. As we read the book of Scripture, it is, of course, a collection of different stories of antiquity that we still reference, we read, and we're inspired by those stories. So yes, I'll be sharing my story in that I want to steward that and share it with those who are leaders.
Now, I'm not putting you on the hot seat, but
Go.
there's an organization that just voted about women preachers. We ain't gonna say the name of the organization.
Right.
You've been listening to CNN, it's on
Right.
there. They can't pass it anymore. What do you say to them? Are women pastors invited to your class?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And EBC as a church, as a local pastor in a church, we embraced women in ministry years ago. Now, unfortunately, that was not so much the history prior to my assuming leadership over EBC. EBC then was a very traditional church. And when I say EBC, that's the Elizabeth Baptist Church. And one of the first major church fights that I had, that was 29 years ago, was a woman in ministry, bless her soul, Lamora Dobbs, who is now part of that great cloud of witnesses, had accepted her call, came to me and expressed, that God had called her to preach. And I was just probably less than a few months into pastoring EBC, and I shared it with the deacons, and that was a no-go. And yet and still we fought and we went back and forth. And when I say fight, of course, I'm speaking in return in terms of debating that whole piece. And shortly thereafter, I would say perhaps a year and a half thereafter, we had another woman who expressed her call to ministry, to which once and again I explained and expressed that to the deacons, and not just to the deacons this time, but also with the process of sharing it with the church, and dealt with it from a biblical and theological perspective. And she started preaching then, and is still a preacher at EBC to this day. And so EBC is an affirming church of women in ministry, and that is with the full aspect of affirming, not just teaching, because churches will say, yes, we affirm women in ministry as long as they minister to other women, as opposed to taking the stance in the pulpit and preaching to men and women. EBC, we embrace the totality of the gifts and the preaching ministry and teaching ministry of women in the full context of the ministry work of the church.
All right, so ladies, come on to the class, 8:30 to 10:30 on Tuesday. I'm sorry, let me make sure. Tuesday and Wednesday. You're invited 8:30 to 10:30. Let me tell you something. You're going to be blessed. This man has many years of pastoral wisdom under his belt, and he's always reading somebody cutting edge. I'm not going to even say who you're reading right now, because I know you're reading somebody. He goes to the bookstore like I go to the sneaker store. Any last words that you want to give to the people to encourage them? We are less than 30 days away. Somebody's trying to make up their mind whether they come into the conference. What could you give them to push that button to register, get there?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, leaders must be willing to invest in the development and in their growth, in the development and growth. And one of the ways in which you're able to do that is taking advantage of opportunities such as the conference that will be taking place in New Orleans. It is an opportunity for you to have some instructional times in different small groups and classes that will take place, but also a time of inspiration and impartation as the keynote speakers will be sharing. And so whoever it is out there that is contemplating, considering, has a moment of reservation as it relates to whether or not to cross the line and push the button to go forward, I want to encourage you to do it. It will add value to your leadership. It will sharpen your skills as a pastor, as a leader. And furthermore, it helps you to grow so that you can grow your church or grow your ministry or whatever it is that God has entrusted to your stewardship. So I would encourage you to sign up, be a part of the Full Gospel International Conference that's going to take place, as it will inspire and motivate you for the days ahead.
Bishop Craig Oliver, member of the council, over our pastors, Propel. Give us the dates for Propel. I know we ain't here to talk about that.
Absolutely. Propel will take place October the 15th to the 17th. And we're looking forward. There's a special rate for the conference itself, the international conference, which is $129. After that, it will go to $149. And then after that, late would be $169. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you sign up.
All right. Thank you, Bishop Oliver. And of course, he got me in the beginning, so he's also my brother.
I was going to say, listen, you did not complete the list.
That's why I got my t-shirt on for him tonight.
I love you, my friend.
And only me can keep him up at 9:15 because he goes to bed at 7:30.
You ought to know it.
Because he's up with them dogs. Love you, sir.
Man, I love you. Take care. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. If you have not registered, I need you to register. All right. You go to Full Gospel Baptist. Melinda, thank you so much. Go to our conference website. They're going to put it, it's right there, fullgospelbaptist.org. The 9th, 10th, and 11th in New Orleans, Louisiana. You need a room, you better rush and get your room. You better rush. I mean, you better rush and get your room, all right? And so we've talked to emerging churches, we talked to pastors, division. Now, there's one more component, y'all, in this whole pastoral thing. And we thank God for the past. But we thank God for our am I saying it right? Young Pastors Division. Yeah. Young Pastors Division. And we're blessed tonight to have Bishop-elect Winton Anderson with us tonight. Welcome, Bishop-elect.
Good evening, Bishop. Good to see you, sir.
And then the man that makes me feel like I'm a little, him and Craig Oliver make me feel like I'm smart because I got smart friends. Reverend Dr. C.J. Rhodes, who I met some time back, came to the Word Network, right, for young preachers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's how we got hooked up, and I want to thank God for our friendship. And welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to be on tonight, and thank you so much for the opportunity, and glad to be here with our leader of the young pastors, Bishop-elect Anderson, as well.
Bishop-elect, congratulations. I told you that when y'all was on before, but congratulations again. How you feeling as we less than 30 days? You's about to take the elect off of there.
Bishop, less than 30 days out, and so many emotions to process. You understand. I mean, it's for as much as excitement, there are several other pieces and things that we felt in this process, and certainly things that I'm still quite processing. And I'm sure you'd probably tell me I'm going to continue processing long after consecration. So that's kind of where I am when people ask me where I'm at. It's a mixture of things, but certainly grateful to be trusted. And it's truly an honor. Even at 37, I tell people it is an honor, especially to be considered for this role.
Let me make you laugh. November, I believe the 7th, will be 30 years that I've been consecrated.
Oh.
You were 7 years old. That makes me feel old.
No, you looking younger though. You looking younger, so that's
I was
good.
32 years old.
Wow.
I just turned 62.
Wow. Wow.
I was 32 years old, and now, just like that, it was 30 years ago that I was consecrated.
You think it'll go that fast for me?
It went fast. It went fast. Seriously. And that's funny you asked that. And when you say, Rhodes, where did the time go? I'm real, like, for real, you know.
Wow.
And so now, 37 years old, heading up Young Pastor Division. Why do we need a Young Pastor Division?
Presider released this word, I think it was last year, remember, at Propel, when he first introduced to us the Next Is Now, that model and what that looked like, right? But, you know, we were raised, many of us were raised, Bishop, kind of limited to, what was it? The youth choir, the young adult choir, the youth ushers, and all of that, right? But we now need a space because that time, that dispensation, it has really changed, and the paradigm has changed. And now it seems like we were sitting in Sunday school yesterday, but now we are the leaders who are, some have been in, but some are coming in. And I think we need young pastors because we need a space and a place where we can be cultivated, not just where we can get together and preach to each other and say doc this and doc that, but the reality is there has to be a space and place where we can grow. And Full Gospel has committed itself to being the space and the place. And Rhodes and I have this conversation all the time. We've seen several things and been a part of different things that don't yield this space. And so this is different, and Full Gospel is a trendsetter for this.
So I want to ask both of you I want you to chime in, Rhodes, because we had this conversation, if you remember, some years ago on my show with young preachers. How do we, you know, the old preachers say that y'all ain't listening to us, and then the young pastors saying we don't want to talk to y'all. How do we bring both together? You know, I've always embraced younger pastors. My grandfather was much older when I started preaching, so he wasn't giving out too much information. I was on the end of his, you know. So how do we bring both together. We're doing it here in the fellowship. But how do we do that where both can come together and have conversation?
So earlier, Bishop Davis, you shared that you were 32 years old when you were consecrated to the bishopric, and Bishop-elect Anderson spoke to the fact that you still look young, even though it's 30 years later. I think part of it is having older leaders who still remember they were once young and being able to pour into younger ministers and say, look, I remember the church fights. I remember the issues with deacons or trustees. I remember work, life, marriage, family balance. I remember going through crises. And I think for younger pastors, we want to be able to, as Bishop Oliver said earlier, to know that you have an autobiography too. You have a story to tell too. And that maybe some of the things we're going through are not that unique to us. And then we also want to be in spaces where, as younger pastors, younger leaders, we feel like we're not just waiting our turn. There's some spaces that say you got to be at least 65 before you can become an older leader. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine at a different Reformation who said that he's 50 and they're still looking at him as the young man in the room. And he said, when do I get older? When I become a grown man? And so I do appreciate the fellowship for making room for that. Even if you think about Presiding Bishop Walker being relatively young in terms of all the other leaders, presidents and bishops of denominations and reformations throughout the nation. So I think that's a great model for other communions, other fellowships to say, look, we need each other. And I, as a younger pastor, and I guess I'm kind of in that weird space. I'm 42 now, so I'm kind of young, but I'm not young enough and not old enough. But I think those of us who are younger want to glean from the elders before they become a part of the great cloud of witnesses. And many of us understand we can't do our work if we don't understand the work that came before us.
And as I think about the climate in our nation right now, we got, I mean, even though they try to say one is older than the other, they're really only a few years apart from each other. I mean, even when you look at Congress and Senate and all that, everybody's older. There's not too many that, you know, so we commend our presiding bishop for even having foresight to say makes is not. Winton, Bishop-elect, what does that mean to you? Did you want to add anything to what he said? Because I was going to another question.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah. What does next is now mean to you? And how about not just to you, but to the whole young pastors division?
So when we hear next is now, the first thing I thought about was the creation of space, right? Not that this goes back to what Dr. Rhodes was saying. You know, all of our lives we've been taught wait your turn, and a lot of that teaching came as a way to, I believe, keep us humble of sorts, right? You have not arrived yet, so stay where you are, and then there will come a day when you've arrived. The problem with that teaching is that we never fully, under that model, you never fully arrive, right? And so even where we are today, when we talk about next is now, the first thing I hear is that instead of waiting our turn, we take full advantage of that turn, which is in this moment, right? Bishop Davis, we talk about this all the time. You know, the truth was, what was that, 10 years ago, we were talking about making room for millennials. We are the millennials and we're on the higher end of that spectrum now. So now we're not making room for millennials per se. We're now saying
Talking about y'all too much no more now.
that's
what about generation, but now they ain't y'all getting like us.
That was it, right? And so now we're moving forward and we're now having to forge paths and do different things because the layout as we know it has changed. And so Nexus now means that we have a spot that we're not waiting till tomorrow. We're not having to necessarily go back to yesterday, but that we are taking full advantage of this moment. And we are not creating a table, but our presider and our fellowship is bringing us to the table.
Before we talk about what's going to happen in July, and this number, Christopher sent me this, and I want to address this to Pastor Dr. Rhodes. What does the idea of charismatic intellectuals mean for young pastors?
Yes, sir. Let me just speak very briefly to what Bishop-elect Anderson just spoke to about the nexus now. Because I think as much as he just spoke to, one of the other pieces is recognizing that younger pastors and leaders already have gifts, experiences, education, resources, best practices that could be a great benefit to the organizations we belong to. So oftentimes waiting our turn meant we aren't able to be a blessing in a full way to the organizations we're part of. And in that vein, then there are a number of folks who, as Presiding Bishop has called them, are charismatic intellectuals who have the learning and the burning. They've gone to seminary, they've got doctorate degrees, earned degrees, they speak in tongues, they pray, they fast, all that kind of stuff, like all of the above. And very seldom do we have opportunities to flow in all of that we are, right? So you can be spiritual, you can be educated, you could be thoughtful, you could, praise and shout. And I think particularly one of the things that Presiding Bishop Walker models is that both and reality, right? You can be educated and empowered by the Holy Spirit. And so my hope is that this space, Full Gospel, can grow in numbers, folks who are okay with being both and. I had a conversation with a young preacher just yesterday who talked about how he's navigating that space as a seminary student, as a pastor, who's also gifted prophetically, et cetera, and trying to navigate how do I live that out without people thinking that I'm not smart enough, but also recognizing that you can't lean just on the education. You gotta have some quick in it too, right? And I do think that particularly under Presiding Bishop Walker's leadership, we have a unique niche of attracting, developing, and deploying charismatic intellectuals who have learning and burning, who can help us answer so many critical questions in the life of the church and the world today.
Yeah.
Well said. Very well said. The part that really burned with me is when you said we may be young, but we're educated. We have resources. You have wisdom. Wisdom is not just age. It is information that you gather, things that you've been through. See, when intellectuals around, I start talking like that. But what if we did like we were done? Now the great part is I came up in the ministry with my grandfather. He was an older man when I got to him. He raised me since I was 9. But he had this thing that other older preachers didn't do. He let young preachers, the young preacher come by, he would just let them preach, give them a chance to put some money in if I could raise money for them. And that wasn't seen back in when I was being raised. So I was raised around a man that gave, and that's the reason why I opened so many doors for people, because that's the way I was raised. But what if we didn't give y'all voice? Look at what we would miss. And there's so many organizations, y'all know them. You can't, we come out retiring people at 70, they can't even be bishops until they get, and some of them, because they don't think you know nothing. So that was a great point, Dr. Rhodes. Conference. There's something going on that starts the night of the conference. Well, the Monday night. What's going on in case people are trying to come in Tuesday? You may need to come in Monday, right?
Yeah, they got to come in Monday. I don't want y'all to miss it. It's going down at Abundant Life Tabernacle. We just saw Bishop Tyrone Jefferson, but we are having a roundtable experience with our presiding bishop. And we've been blessed now the last couple of years. I say this all the time, whose presiding bishop is carving out a space, not just to be in board meetings and all of the above, but he has carved out this space to deal directly with young pastors. And so we're going to be there that Monday night, and you all can't afford to miss it. We're going to have a networking hour starting at 6 o'clock because, of course, I know the new thing is doing this alone, but I would say if you're trying to go far, you don't need to do it alone. And so join us at 6 o'clock that night for a pastor's networking hour. And then we're going to jump straight into this roundtable where Presider is not lecturing us. Presider is actually going to sit in a roundtable experience and give us the game, quite frankly, and give us what we need.
You have before gospel to come?
No. You don't need to be full gospel to come. We need every young pastor, male, female. And here's the best part, Bishop, about the Young Pastors Division. Most people automatically think that it is only for senior young pastors. But the beauty of what we do is that we have staff pastors. We have those who are on the trajectory, who their leaders have identified as going into the pastorate. And so there is a space and place, whether you're a youth pastor, young adult pastor, worship pastor, whatever it may be, there is a context for you, and this is the room for you.
So I can get tools before I become senior pastor?
You can.
Get, as you said?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is that space.
Wow. Who's on the round table?
So we're going to have presider, Dr. Rhodes will be back with us. Some of our very own Pastor Bianca. If y'all have not heard her, she's amazing. Pastor Brian Bradshaw, who is specifically going to be talking to the staff pastors. And I don't know if you have followed Pastor Bradshaw's ministry, for those who don't know, but he does an amazing job, not only supporting the vision of our presiding bishop at Mount Zion, but he has been astronomical in helping young pastors as staff pastors develop the heart of their leader and a heart for the people. And so Dr. Rhodes is even going to be bringing us and talking to us about those who sit between those two spaces and who are going to not have to make a decision, but be in those two spaces and be comfortable with who they are. And I think you like to stop through, Bishop, sometimes, right? Don't you pop in on our stuff when you're in town?
I plan to be there, and we're going to cover it from social media. Somebody will be at the event to cover the event on our social media department. So I definitely plan to come by.
Perfect.
I appreciate you all so much. Pastor Rhodes, if there's a young pastor, young staff member who is trying to decide whether or not they want to come to the gospel, give them an invite.
Certainly. Well, I do invite any and everybody, particularly younger ministers, as Bishop-elect said. You can be senior pastor, staff pastor, youth minister. You can be discerning a call to ministry, and you understand that you want to do this the right way. You want to have the tools, the resources. I think particularly for that Monday night, but throughout the entire conference, it's an opportunity to be exposed to a different way, maybe for some, of doing ministry, of walking alongside folks. And as Bishop-elect said, to know that the presiding bishop is going to sit down, a man who's not only a pastor and a bishop, a husband, a father, but also has served on boards, has written many, many books, is entrepreneurial. So there's some young pastor out there saying, hey, I need multiple streams of income. I don't want to just depend on my local church to help me financially, et cetera. I think they will glean so much. And I know there's so many young pastors who say they're looking for more impartation. They're looking for more education, information. They don't know what they're doing and they want to do it better. I think you ought to not only meet us there, but beat us there in New Orleans on that Monday.
Monday night, I believe that's the 8th.
Yes.
The 8th. And definitely there'll be information on the website. Check out social media at Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. And there are flyers that's there, and you continue to post the information. I want to thank both of you. Is there anything else going on that week for young pastors?
So two things. So let me just give a shout out to the Young Adult Division because we are teaming up with them for the rest of the week during their classes and sessions. And young pastors, Bishop, the division of young pastors was not just to have a separate division, but it was that young pastors would be featured in every area of the fellowship where they could serve and work. And so all week long, people are going to catch a young pastor doing something in one of the areas. And so I know Pastor Bianca's teaching in Daughters of Promise. I know Pastor Lee Walker is doing some stuff on the pastor side. And so we're excited about that. And then one thing I forgot, Bishop, just one quick thing. The night of our event on Monday, we are releasing we are testing, or I should say, kind of testing the release of this new young pastors platform where we are uploading resources. There is a virtual resource center that we are going to release that night with documents and different things, tools that pastors within the fellowship and bishops have given to us. Many of us out here don't know how to consecrate, don't know how to make sure that you ordain deacons and ordain these and ministers and elders and licensing and all of that. And so they have donated this stuff to us, and we've put it all together in a platform where you can drop it, go look, download it, and apply it to your church. So we're excited about that. We're really excited about that virtual space.
Make sure after the conference that you all get that to us for social media so that we can put the links on Facebook and Instagram and all that where people can get it after the conference.
Yes, sir.
We can make it available there and make sure that is so good. Wish we had that when we were coming up. We had to learn it and write it. And then it's how it's supposed to be done, though, passed down to the next generation. You don't just keep it. Like
That's right.
Thank you all so much for being a part of the fellowship at home. We less than 30 days away again. Dr. Rhodes, thank you. Bishop-elect, congratulations again. We look forward to laying hands on you.
Thank you, sir.
And then thank you, Bishop Gomillion, Bishop Jefferson. Thank you, Bishop Craig Oliver. This has been one of the best because we do all of our pastors. Thank you all. Christopher, thank you for producing. I want to thank Bishop-elect Poole for making sure our guests are here. And then, of course, our presiding bishop for giving us this opportunity. We got one more coming up, y'all. We're on our way to knowledge. Go register and follow all of the social media, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and launching. We are going to launch our TikTok page at the conference. And we really gonna have a lot. I need some young adult stuff from y'all, right? Y'all need to do some challenges. I need
We got you. Right? Rhodes is gonna dance.
Huh? Rhodes gonna dance?
Yeah.
I believe he can. We out of here, y'all. Like, share, and follow.
All by himself, he is